It's long been obvious to me the portion of human experience we call consciousness has a quality that our understanding of the physical world can't explain. One view advanced is that consciousness is an odd side effect of how matter and energy interact in the biology of the nervous system. It implies that the principles of matter and energy are not just merely sufficient, but uniquely empowered to explain consciousness. I disagree, not just because of the implications for free will and personal agency, but because science exposed the mechanistic deterministic universe as a fallacy debunked by quantum mechanics. Some of the pioneers of quantum theory believed and explained that their discoveries unavoidably brought questions of consciousness to a new place. Erwin Schrödinger, an early pioneer of quantum theory, said, "Among the advancing hosts of the forces of knowledge, metaphysics is the vanguard, establishing the forward outposts in an unknown and hostile territory. We cannot do without such outposts." Max Planck, a German physicist and Nobel Prize winner, credited as the father of quantum theory, was more explicit than Schrödinger. In 1931, he said, "I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as a derivative from consciousness. We cannot get behind consciousness. Everything that we talk about, everything that we regard as existing, postulates consciousness." Rather than being some special effect that owes its existence to quirks of matter and energy, consciousness produces matter and energy. The pure stuff of consciousness, which I envision as a vast domain of vibrating Ohm filaments, can vibrate in novel patterns that produce the myriad illusions of space and time, matter and energy. In this edition of the Temporal Reverie, I want to consider the relationship between our individual experience of consciousness and the very physical biology of our bodies. How does our consciousness take shape as a localized phenomenon entwined with the body? Does our authentic being express a distinct pattern and organization common to all human beings, while also facilitating the distinct expression of our incarnated individuality? The flesh and blood bodies of human beings are astonishing living systems, studied by scientists and described in considerable detail. The fields of biology and medicine have both yielded tremendous understanding of the workings of our physical form. We know about everything from the presence and function of DNA to the operation of our cells, the reactions in our biochemistry to the anatomical structure that arranges organs into specialized systems that determine how we breathe, how we eat, how we fight disease or heal from injury, how we move and how we act in the world. As understanding of our physicality has deepened, we've learned how energy is also an inseparable element of our being. We know how we digest food to create the energy by which we live, the intricate network of nerves that shuttle electrical signals with sensory information or relay motor control choices between the brain and the rest of the body, the role of body temperature, light sensitivity, and more. We've examined how the systems of our bodies interact with heat, light, sound, radiation, and electromagnetic fields, and then use that knowledge to correct faulty vision, regulate our circadian rhythms, and treat diseases. Our knowledge of the physical body is so exhaustive, though yet incomplete, so detailed in describing our animal selves, that we easily fall into the trap of imagining that the body is what we are. This isn't purely the result of what we know about the body as an organism. It also arises from the vivid intensity of experience by which we know our lives as a thing deeply interwoven with the body. Among some is a growing awareness that a body is something we have, not something we are. That we have an authentic, eternal nature that lives apart from the body, and thereby lives on when the body is dead and decayed. Physical reality arises from consciousness, including every atom and molecule of the bodies we occupy during our mortal lives. As the fetal body emerges and is able to support the union, our authentic and eternal selves begin to gather like a cloud surrounding and interpenetrating the body. In this cloud, all memories of prior lives fade into the gauzy background of our subconscious minds. At birth, the binding of consciousness and body is complete, enabling the rapid development of a new conscious mind that takes shape as the identity and ego we require for our travels within the theater of experience. As we grow, so does our keen awareness of being integrated with the physical body. What we may not think about is that this integrated experience is merely the tip of an iceberg, most of which is submerged outside our conscious awareness. The bulk of our cloud of being, no longer consciously accessible, is nevertheless close at hand, coexisting with our physical body. Various spiritual philosophies describe an aspect of our being that closely surrounds but is not immediately evident within the physical body. It's as if we have two bodies, one that is physical and observable, and another that isn't directly observable at all. This second body is often called the energetic body or the subtle body, having an indirect presence that is hidden to the perception of our physical senses and our scientific instruments. The need to recognize and understand the subtle body is every bit as important to well-being as that of the physical body. Expert on subtle body anatomy Cindy Deyo points to this need in the introduction to her book, The Subtle Body, an Encyclopedia of Your Energetic Anatomy, when she writes, "The well-worn path of Western allopathic medicine, relying in essence on things that are readily apparent, does not hold all the answers we need." Dale goes on to differentiate between the more overt energies we have come to consider part and parcel of human biology, electrical impulses traveling the nervous system, light radiating on our skin and in our eyes, heat generated and regulated by the body, and other energies that are so attenuated they go undetected. These comparatively faint energies are nonetheless present in the body and play essential roles in not just our health, but also the interpenetrating weave that blends body with consciousness. These are the so-called subtle energies that comprise the subtle body. These energies have been discovered and described by various ancient traditions. In Chinese traditional medicine, these energies are called qi, that moves in channels called meridians. In the Hindu tradition, these energies are called prana, that travel along channels called nadi. One of the features of the subtle body is that while its fields are closely coupled to the body's location, interpenetrating the physical anatomy, they also extend beyond the boundaries of the skin and encases our flesh and blood forms. These fields facilitate exchanges of energy and information in the form of vibrational patterns, sometimes in ways that suggest connection across considerable physical distances. I've described our personal consciousness as a kind of cloud localized around the flesh body. While we think of clouds as having entirely varied, random, endlessly changing shapes, the kind of consciousness that ties our eternal selves to our incarnate flesh probably exhibits patterns that contain flow and structure. There are multiple narratives of the subtle body developed by different cultures and arising out of their particular belief systems. Which of these is correct, if any? Perhaps they're all correct. Seemingly contradictory theories, such as quantum mechanics and general relativity, have been plaguing physicists who hope to reconcile them by a larger, unifying theory in which these seeming competitors are just special cases. Perhaps different theories of the subtle body each express special cases of an undiscovered encompassing whole. The Chinese discovered aspects of the subtle body they describe in terms of qi and meridians. The Hindu uncovered aspects of the same phenomenon, just describing them differently. One narrative need not be declared correct at the expense of the other. Perhaps both descriptions are elements of a larger, more complex phenomenon. But for now, let's focus on the Hindu theory of the subtle body. The Hindu narrative of the subtle body describes a network of energy flows expressed throughout the entire anatomy of a human being. The structure of this subtle body centers around a collection of energy concentrations aligned in a column from the tailbone to the top of the head. Each of these large energy concentrations both collect and project a particular type of living energy with a specific vibration and corresponding state of consciousness. These energy concentrations act as junctions between the temporary energies and vibrations of the physical body and the eternally interwoven energies and vibrations of mind and soul. These concentrations are described as spinning circles into and out of which their corresponding energy flows. If all reality ultimately arises from a hopelessly complex vibrational phenomenon, then what appears to our minds as energy flows of the subtle body are actually transmissions of many vibrational states. These vibrational states amount to data, information about the conditions of existence sent between the divine mind and ourselves. These spinning whirlpools of information form a system of subtle organs co-located within our physical anatomy. The Hindu called these spinning energetic organs chakras, from the Sanskrit word for wheel or disc. There are 7 major chakras located along the central axis of the body, along with a network of smaller, less well-known chakras, all of which are connected by energy channels called nadi. Each chakra expresses a binding between the subtle body, which is the structured form our eternal consciousness assumes and occupies, and the physical body, which is the mortal form we inhabit and by which we become actors in the theater of experience. This binding not only seats our consciousness within the flesh body, but also passes sensory experience received by the nervous system into our consciousness and executes control over the body to enact our intentions in the world. As our consciousness controls the body's voluntary functions, it produces biochemical and electrical changes within that affect health and wholeness. Poorly handled stress, for example, can impact energy flow in ways that foster disease and dysfunction. But the chakras that connect our waking and subconscious being to our body also connects our individual consciousness through deeper levels of being, all the way back to the divine mind. By understanding that this system of chakra exists and does so in part to facilitate information exchange with the divine mind, we can apply our understanding of the subtle body to the maintenance of health, free flows of energy through our chakras. We can look at disease and dysfunction as symptoms of an imbalance or blockage in one or more chakras that we can take action to correct. Each of the 7 main chakras has a particular site within our physical anatomy. Each has a traditional color to represent its energy, following the color spectrum of visible light from red to violet. Each chakra processes information as energy of a specific focus. Each has a symbol that incorporates a lotus flower of a particular number of petals. The lotus plant, which grows in mud while raising a beautiful white flower to the heavens, is a central metaphor to the chakra system. The column of 7 main chakras is itself like the lotus flower, with one end of the column rooted to the earth and the opposite end reaching to our highest selves and the divine. A human being seated on the ground, perhaps in the lotus position, has their tailbone planted in the earth. It's at this location we find the root chakra. The root chakra is the base of the column of 7 main chakras in the body. Its traditional color is red, the color having the lowest frequency in the visible light spectrum. The root chakra is the furthest from the divine mind. It expresses the animal concerns of human existence. It's the energy of survival, of the first and second of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's concerned with food, water, shelter, warmth, and safety. The root chakra is connected to the earth, making it our source of security, of feeling connected to the world and anchored in our own being. Its action is to be. Moving up from the root chakra toward the head, arriving at the lower abdominal muscles, we find the sacral chakra. Its traditional color is orange, a color of higher frequency than red, and thus representing a higher vibration of consciousness. It's the energy of our feelings, especially desire, pleasure, and sexuality. Anatomically, this chakra is affiliated with the reproductive organs. The elemental nature of this chakra is water. Its action is to feel. Above the sacral chakra, at the height of the solar plexus muscles, we come to the solar plexus chakra. Its traditional color is yellow, representing a still higher vibration of consciousness. It's the energy of personal power, of assertiveness, and the expressions of will. Elementally, the solar plexus chakra is associated with fire. The states of consciousness centered in this chakra are very powerful, housing anger as well as joy. The solar plexus chakra energizes our actions. It's the center for the make things happen state of mind. Its action is to do. Rising from the solar plexus chakra, we come to the heart chakra. Its traditional color is green, a yet higher frequency, representing a yet higher vibration of consciousness. It's the energy of love and compassion, of connection and relationship to others. As you might expect, this chakra is located in and around the anatomy of the heart. Elementally, the heart chakra is associated with air and the physical sense of touch. It energizes empathy, affinity, social, personal, and family relationships. Its action is to love. At the larynx, we come to the throat chakra. Its traditional color is blue, a still higher frequency of vibration and consciousness. This chakra is the center of our personal voice, not just in the physical sense, but more broadly in the sense of self-expression in any form. Anatomically, this chakra is located in the area of the vocal cords and is associated with breath. Elementally, the throat chakra is characterized as sound. At this chakra, the elemental associations become ones with energy rather than matter. This is the chakra of communication, of the interchanges of messages both expressed and understood. Its action is to speak. Rising above the throat chakra, we reach the point just slightly above the eyebrows. Here is where we find the third eye chakra. Its traditional color is indigo. However, there are more recent representations of the chakra system that assigns the color violet to this chakra. This is the chakra of perception and intuition, of subtle distinctions and insight. Elementally, the third eye chakra is identified with light, an element closer to the purity of the divine. Anatomically, this chakra is centered between the eyes. Its action is to see. Finally, we reach the highest point in the torso, the top of the head, and the crown chakra. Its traditional color is violet, but in more contemporary depictions the color is white, the union of all colors combined. This is the chakra of understanding, of knowledge and wisdom. At the crown chakra, the energy of the divine mind flows into our personal consciousness. It's also the spot from which our subtle energy returns to God. Elementally, the crown chakra is identified with pure thought. It is the edge of the prism that scatters white light into constituent colors. Its action is to know. While the subtle body consists of fields that extend well past the boundary of our skin, the energies of the subtle body are concentrated around these 7 chakras, these points of energy exchange. At each chakra, consciousness of a particular vibration is drawn into its whirlpool from our cloud of personal being. So when we need to persuade others of something, the energy of our ability to express ourselves and communicate that circulates through the throat chakra needs to flow fully. We say this chakra needs to be open, like a lotus flower when its petals are fully unfurled. When we're stressed about survival concerns, our root chakra might be restricted and not allowing us to feel a sense of security. The energy of our consciousness forms a cloud of personal being coalesced around the body, sending changing vibrational patterns as energy flows into and out of the chakras. Additionally, the crown chakra connects our individual selves back to the divine mind. The energy of our experiences flow to the divine mind through the crown chakra, and the soft, quiet voice of God speaking to us is first received and relayed at the crown chakra. In addition to the chakras, the subtle body also has energy channels that connect the chakras to one another and to other less well-known ports of energy exchange in the body. These channels are called nadi. There are many nadi that provide pathways for energy to move. However, 3 major nadi are particularly important. These 3 major pathways resemble data buses inside a computer through which data is shuttled between the components. One of these 3 main energy pathways is called Sushumna. It runs from the crown chakra to the root chakra, passing through the other chakras in between. Sushumna is the consciousness superhighway of the chakra system. Running alongside Sushumna are 2 nadi called Aila and Pingala. These pathways weave back and forth across the central axis of Sushumna. They are sometimes depicted as intersecting with each other at the chakras, and sometimes shown intersecting between them. They interconnect the chakra system, moving the living energy of prana through and around the subtle and physical bodies. The chakras and their energy pathways provide a network within which the energy of our personal consciousness, our prana, moves and intersects with the overt energies of the body found in the nervous system. In fact, each chakra is associated with a collection of nerve ganglia through which the energy of the subtle body can affect how overt energy operates in the physical body. Our incarnation is a temporary knitting of the eternal pattern and energy of our immortal consciousness and the pattern of matter and energy that gives form to the physical body. The sensory stimuli arriving endlessly send streams of electrical impulses to the brain, not only producing sensation in our awareness, but also exchanging energy with the subtle body, with our consciousness, at the chakras. And the energy of our thoughts, our emotions, our perceptions, and our beliefs flow through the chakras, where they affect the overall vibrational pattern of our consciousness and also the health of the body. Negative thoughts or unhandled stress restricts flow through the chakras in ways that impact health and wellness. The goal is to maintain all the chakras in a free and fully open condition of energy flow. The energy of the entire system is ideally balanced between all the chakras. This is the condition that best facilitates physical well-being and the vitality of body and mind. But when one or more chakras are closed to some degree, restricted energy flow results in illness and dysfunction. At the other extreme, too much emphasis on particular aspects of life can cause a surge of too much energy in a particular chakra, also producing health problems. Knowing how to properly balance and maintain energy flow in the chakras has long been considered essential subtle body health care. When symptoms of a medical problem manifest, they can sometimes be traced to one or more chakras, possibly indicating an imbalance, a restricted energy flow, or an excess energy flow. One way to promote healthy, open chakras is meditation. The flow of energy in and through the chakras is heavily affected by our thoughts and state of mind. For each chakra, there's a variety of recommended meditations that can focus the energy of your thoughts on creating proper energy flow to impacted chakras. Another way to care for your chakras is through yoga, a discipline of mind, breath, and posture. There are many types of yoga, each with its particular set of physical postures you attempt as a means to relax the body, improve the flow of prana through the use of breath, and create improved flows of energy through the chakras. For each chakra, there are different types of yoga recommended, each prescribing specific postures to energize or moderate the energy flow of particular chakras. Though the concept of the chakra system comes from outside the Christian faith, it describes a philosophy and set of practices that have been time-tested in Hindu culture for thousands of years. While its ideas may seem foreign to Christians, the chakra system offers a compelling and long-studied framework for understanding how the energy of our consciousness affects the physical body and our health. The energies of the divine mind enter the crown chakra in the form of pure thought. Moving from the crown chakra down to the root, the increasingly lower frequency of each chakra's vibrations becomes less ethereal and more visceral. As a progression of gradually denser vibrations, the pure energy at the crown chakra gradually moves down the system until it becomes the dense substance of our animal selves. Thought turns to light, then sound, then air, then fire, then water, then earth. In Matthew 5:14, Jesus said, "You are the light of the world." Your consciousness is an expression of authentic, eternal being that has entered the theater of experience to participate, to learn, and to give. While the energies of the subtle body may not be measurable or detectable by our modern tools and instruments, they nevertheless express your potent inner dance of being. Their energy, properly monitored and intended, lends your life a light that others around you cannot help but see. Next time on the Temporal Reverie, I want to talk about an experience from my Pentecostal youth. It's an experience variously called speaking in tongues, or the baptism of the Holy Spirit, and is also called glossolalia. Many skeptics treat this phenomenon as a phony bit of church theater, but I can tell you from experience just how real this phenomenon can be. How does this Christian phenomenon compare with the ecstatic trance states found in other spiritual traditions? Before human beings undertook the study of our physical anatomy, we had precious little understanding of diseases, or how to cure them, or how to maintain ourselves in healthy physical condition. But the overt, tangible reality of our animal selves is not the only anatomy we have. We also have an energetic anatomy, an energetic body, whose structure and workings we can discover and understand, and whose whirlpools of consciousness can reveal the very wisdom within our flesh. I'd like to know what you think about this episode. Please leave any questions or thoughts you want to share in the comments below. My thanks to God for this chance to share with all of you, and may the gifts of love, joy, peace, and enlightenment come to you all.